I've never dipped a car before. This is my first experience.
This is every fabricator's dream right here. An acid dip shell.
Don't look into the light, no matter how tempting. We got our cage installed and pretty much everything has been installed minus a few bars left out to make working on the inside easier, and the guys aren't wasting any time. There's been a ton of progress made because we are on a tight timeline to get this looking like this. Wow! Let's roll the clip of all the updates.
Yeah, let's see.
That was a little better. We'll only show those ones. Luckily, these are the anti-intrusion bars on the passenger side, not the driver's side with foot cam. One of the biggest fabrication challenges for this project was fitting a quick change winter's diff in the rear of an RX-7 FC. It's only been done one other time in the world, and we want to do it even better than that and have it really dialed with good geometry. So that means we really have to dive into how do you fix the geometry in the rear of an RX-7 FC before we can even start working on the mounts for our diff. So let's take a closer look.
All right, so this is the rear subframe-ish. It's kind of just a trailing arm mount for this in the RX-7 and the FCs. It is really weird dynamic on how the alignment actually changes. So these are the bushings from Part Shop Max that these have a little spherical ball thing in there. Because this subframe, when you change your alignment, it actually moves this way to change your camber, toe, and everything like that because of the trailing arm being an A-arm coming off of this mount and your wheel bearing bang all the way back here. So with these things, when you upgrade the bushings, there's a problem when you lower the car that it creates an excessive amount of camber. Now these are slotted here to be toe correction. So what we do is we're gonna take this here eccentric washer and I lined it up here to where it's pointing directly down. I used a Sharpie just to mark it, and then I took my little center punch and I marked the center point of this. So what I'm gonna do is drill a hole through there and then slot the holes. So that way when I install the rear trailing arms back into this, it's gonna be at maximum camber correction. So that way when we lower the car, we'll be as close to zero as possible. That's it, baby. And we got these guys done too, which were not a good time because it is actually a 5-piece bushing. So it has 2 outer aluminum collars, a bearing in the middle, and then 2 misalignment spacers. But it's in. So we were originally going to powder coat these guys, but we decided to paint them because this stock one right here, we can't find a replacement for, and we don't want to cook it. And it's actually in really good shape. And it's already like a ball joint style. Like it has a pivot and a rubber boot, so we're just going to let it ride. What I did do is clean up these guys, some fresh paint, painted the hub, some aluminum paint on here, new bushings in there. So I can put this stuff together. We can put it on the car because when we mount our winters, we need to make sure that our axles are somewhat in a straight line. Somewhat.
We got the diff in. We had to cut a whole bunch out, unfortunately.
It's in, our drive shaft position is kind of perfect. Our axle position is kind of perfect. So now we're gonna kind of make that fit into here and then figure out where we need to add reinforcements.
Yep. Glorious. I like that little tiny pen.
Look at this beautiful sight. This is incredible.
If you can tell, it didn't fit. That's why nobody's put one in here before, except for one person.
This is the ingenuity test here. That's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. And we still have to do a bar across the back. Made a bracket to weld to the chassis and then welded the bracket that Collete had made to weld to that. So the diff is still removable. You just unbolt it, pop out the input shaft on the front, and it'll drop out through the bottom.
Because all of this is clearly hard mounted, that's why getting the geometry correct beforehand, before everything was mocked up in here, was so important. We did work with Spooky Andy to get the side brackets made, so then these guys can do the rest of the engineering to get this setup dialed. And yeah, this is super exciting, because like I said, this is something that the RX-7 FC community has desperately wanted a solution for. It's not easy, it takes a lot of work, but these guys are doing it.
It worked out good though, because this is where the factory rear mounts for the differential are. So that whole crossbar and everything is still integrated into the diff mounts. So according to like FD rule books, you're still supposed to maintain your factory left or right mounting points, at least, you know, where the pickups are. So at least we still have the true point from the front of the subframe, and then the rear mount still has the factory mounting position where the differential mounted previously. So we're kind of still right within the regulation.
And the drive line now is actually mint, okay? So they took into account where the engine is mounted, transmission, all the way back to diff. It's beautiful. They also took into account for axle positioning as well. Like this is it.
Yeah.
This is it, guys.
Did we get a
it's
video
beautiful.
of the previous one? How off it was? I wish we did. I don't think we did.
I don't.
You can see
It's
on
probably-
that car how bad the drive shaft flange is, like 2 inches off center.
Yeah.
So this is better.
Even to get an 8.8, which is what was in version 1 of this car, a Ford 8.8 diff that's beefier, which is the go-to mod for FC owners, even to get that in, there's a lot of hacking. It doesn't work out perfectly. If you could see in that one, it was a little off, and it's not a great solution. So a million times better. It's gonna be great. There was one challenge that we had to overcome, aside from the main challenge of getting the diff here, and that is the camber arm that goes right here.
What?
Look at that.
It's supposed to go in here. But it's supposed to go in here like this. And when they designed it, they designed this to go right through there. And if you look at,
Wasn't gonna fit.
it's not gonna fit. It's directly in line with this. So the solution for it is we're getting a adjustable one, because this is really a camber arm. If you look at that, you can look at the arm of the car.
Do it. Oh wow, it really does.
So this arm sets in place where you want your camber and toe on it, but we can't fit it there. So the adjustable one that we're getting in, all we're gonna do is take and flip-flop it. You see how this one's skinny and this one's wide? We're gonna take and go on the outside of it and then do our bolts through that. And we'll add reinforcement on it. Hefty rulebook states you can move your pickup location up to 2 inches. We're actually not even changing the pickup location, we're just moving it over on the same pickup location. So we know we're within the 2 inches there, plus we're still on the same location for pickup point, so we should be okay with Kevin Wells on that one. We just need to get this arm in, and then we'll be fine. But yeah, we had to take this out. It will not work, and you have to have that, because otherwise your car will just, do that without it. Yeah, easy fix. And we gotta chop these bad boys off. That's where your old subframe used to go.
Don't need those where we're going.
Nope, stay in the way.
After everything is finished, then we'll hit up Drive Shaft Shop, get our custom axles and drive shaft, carbon, of course.
This was the bottom part that was supposed to mount to the subframe, but as we were just showing you with this arm, this actually moves, so you can't mount it to this, based off of us being able to do everything. So we're gonna cut this off, and in so doing, it makes it a lot easier to remove your dip. There's a cone that goes over this, so you can't get it out because of how wide this is. So what we're gonna do is, since this is not usable for us, we're gonna take and cut this bottom section out here and here, and the only thing we'll do is remove these 2 bolts on the bottom which aren't being used, and this whole section will come out.
It's also not going to prevent us from setting like our camber with our moving subframe, and it will make this a lot quicker to check out and service.
A lot quicker to change. The quick change will be quick to change.
Yeah. We were working with Radium for the entire fuel setup, and initially we really wanted to make their new saddle tank system work. Like, this is so cool. They debuted this and got an award for it at PRI, and the original plan was to try and squeeze these in like the storage section behind the seats in the front of the RX-7 FC. There is not enough room. So, and it doesn't make sense. Like, these would have to be so close and touching and still raised up high enough where you might as well just have one cell back there and not extra things. But shout out, thank you to Radium, because these are just the prototypes that they rushed over to us to try and do some fitting with. Now we know we want to go with Radium's 10.5 gallon cell, and that's going to be the game plan for the back of there. But these are really, really cool and brand new from them. Huge update on the rear of the car. Donnie chopped this thing up, sealed it, and did it the proper way. We can roll a clip of what happened to version 1 of this car. Literally just grinded the 2 layers off and left it. So it was never sealed in version 1. So yeah, talk us through the proper way to do this.
Well, Cricket always has the best tool advice, so plasma cut. I just plasma cut the whole outer edge, but I put the fender on first and measured up how far I need to cut for it to be close to flat, and then made marks, got an arc, cut it with the plasma, grind it down, and then just slit the inside up, smashed it all up, and then just tacked it the whole way along. And this chassis for some reason had a bunch of holes.
Yeah.
So I went around and filled all the holes from all the old emblems, everything like that. So that's all done. Firewall holes, they're all filled. So we're all good there.
And we lost a little bit of our hearing from Donnie sitting there grinding.
God.
While the car is
Hours
just
and
hollow, it
hours
just
of
echoes
grinding.
inside there. Like, we couldn't hear nothing by the end of the day.
Donnie's just over here, you know, doing a great job, and he's just making everyone in a pissed off mood because it just rattles your brain for hours. But hey, it was worth it. This is amazing and way better than version 1. Rear, cut, sealed, done. Amazing. Now we also did sunroof delete.
So it's pretty easy because this was already acid dipped, so I was able to TIG weld the whole thing in, which has a lot smaller weld and it's a lot flatter than MIG welding. So for the body guys that need to sand it down and get all the dents out of the roof, this will be a lot easier to work with than if you MIG'd it in and had to grind it all down. So there's minimal grinding that'll need to be done, and then a little fill in where there's dents and stuff. You can see all the scraping, and somebody used a flapper disc on this before, so it might have had hail damage once upon a time.
Yeah.
But it was all pulled out, and Donnie sealed all of the holes in the roof. So now we have a solid roof. It's a slick top now, which is really sweet.
This might end up being a record for the most progress that's ever happened on a single build in one of my videos ever. So already we're about to do another full car walk around and give you all the final updates for all the complete on-chassis fabrication.
So we did rear mount radiator. We welded all those in so they're ready for powder. 4 tabs for that. We capped the diff so none of the smoke from underneath can get up into our radiator, because our radiator deadheads right here at the end of where the diff cover is. So we won't get any smoke or debris going through there.
We learned that lesson the hard way with Savio's car. A lot of debris in his radiator.
We don't like debris.
Great for 3 laps, then it overheats.
Then you need an air blower and blow out the thing from the backside. It's not
Well, look, this is so satisfying. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, and look at that. We didn't have that there before.
Yep. Got a fuel cell cradle in there.
Anywhere.
Not
Nope.
going anywhere.
That is for our Radium 10-gallon fuel cells, the size that we ended up going with, and it's a tight fit to the firewall, but
It's a very tight fit. But we ended up welding on tabs for your firewall, so it's already pre-done. And Chris and I, actually Chris did all of the measurements and everything to get everything to fit on this. So he did a really good job. Look at that bottom plate right there. That was all Chris. He measured it, cut it all out, grinded it all out.
The cell is actually only 8 inches tall, so it still keeps our center of gravity as low as possible. And it also allows us to run our remote fill.
boom, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's cool. Hydro?
Hydro mount is done
Complete.
as well, right where you wanted it. Dashboard was cut, mounted. It mounted really easy. We have all the mounts done for it as well. We used 2 of the factory locations for the dashboard, and then we welded on our own 2 tabs for it as well.
So this bar, tricky added this one, and then there's one more right here that originally weren't gonna add them, but because the chassis is actually being powder coated, they will pop. They will stand out, and it's just, you know, more aesthetic, some more safety, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
they were already there. All I was going to do is weld them in.
yeah.
Notched, shaped, marked,
Yeah,
you know.
and they look really cool. And
They do look
this
cool.
bar right here helps you get in and out of the car, so you can grab a hold of it. And
True.
because most people that use their cage to get out of the car, they have a lot of gap. But with cage kits, there's no gap to put your hand around the A-pillar. So this little one right here allows you to grab and hop out of the car a lot faster, because you do have to be out, what, within 10 seconds in FD rules?
And 2 passengers getting in and out, they're always like, what do I grab onto?
Yeah.
And then now, boom, we got a little...
Especially when you have like a gutted
little
door
handle.
and somebody's trying to pull themselves out on your gutted door and the whole thing's just like folding. It's just
Cringe.
Yeah.
hate it.
We're leaving the HQ shop temporarily. We will be back. And this is the next part of the build where it's now going to be prepped for powder. I've never had a chassis powder coated before, and that's really why these guys were not wasting any time and moving so fast, because all the on-chassis fab had to be completely done. So it goes to powder, and we're set for reassembly. But that'll be the next point. So now we gotta figure out how to get this on the dolly, right?
The dolly with the really wonky wheels.
And then it's going to the prep bay. And they're moving me out. I'm tired of it. Getting kicked out.
Yeah, get your own shop floor.
Alright, that is it for this video. Like I said, this is probably the most progress made on any car ever on my channel in one single video. So I know that was a lot to take in. Let us know what you think about the build so far in the comments below. Coming up is the powder coating process, and before that, prep for it. So that's what we're going to be working on tomorrow and getting the powder coating done this weekend. So I will see you guys in the next video. Sandblaster ripped. Yeah. You gotta get a little dirty, you get a little clean sometimes, you know what I'm saying? We officially have our powder coated chassis